It has been a number of months since I've worked on the old Dodge VFA32, but we're gonna get back to it today. I gotta take this, I'm gonna take this entire thing, the radiator, and it's basically the grill. I'm gonna take it out as a unit. The radiator's got some pretty major leaks in it, so I need to take it over to a radiator shop and get it fixed. I looked around to see if I could find like a used one, and they cost a fortune, so I'm not gonna do that. But I've hit it with PB Blaster a few times over the last few months and let it soak, so hopefully with any luck these bolts will come right off. And then I'm going to throw them in a solution, a rust dissolving solution, and get everything fixed and put it back together. Well, that's on the agenda. Will she live again? I gotta be honest, I don't think this radiator leaks. I think it's that hose. Change that hose, I bet it doesn't leak. All right, so I got the radiator here in the barn, and I took it to the radiator shop. They pressure tested. I told them not to test it over 4 psi, and I think that they did. But anyway, he calls me up and he says that the way that it's leaking, he can't fix it, and I'm gonna have to take it to somebody to recore it. And I said okay. So I went and I picked it up, and then I started really looking at it and trying to find the spots where I think there was damage. He said it was all rusted out. It's got a little bit of rust right here that runs along the bottom, but it's not leaking there. I couldn't find rust anywhere else on it, like on the actual, like, what do you call them? The channels, I guess, not the fins, but where the fluid actually runs. But I did, kind of where this stain is at, I found a really nice hole right there. So I JB welded it, and I'm gonna let it sit overnight. And I also know that it was leaking from the crease. There's a crease right here, and there was like a little tiny weld mark right about there, and it appeared to me like it was leaking from there. So I JB welded that entire thing. And I mean, it's not pretty, but I don't really care as long as it works. I also got to check my footage, but I don't have the radiator cap anymore, and I think that they snarfed it. Maybe by accident, maybe on purpose. No, I'm just kidding. It was probably by accident. But yeah, that's where we're at. I just need to be able to put it back in the truck so I can drive it over into the barn. So I did patch this spot with JB weld, and I think it's holding, but I put some water in the radiator to find some of the other holes, and yep, sure enough, right there's a leak. So I'm gonna try to figure out what's going on with that one and patch it, but there might be something going on here, something small, because you know I can see it. I can see it leaking a little bit. Here's what I'm doing. I'm mixing up a little JB weld. I find the wet spots, and then I get my McDonald's straw. I'm blowing it in there. This is the end result. Do I think it's gonna work? No, but it definitely gives me an idea on creating like a repair method for radiators. So maybe I'll patent that shit, make my own compound, and have so much money I can just buy a new one. So this is a leak. It's definitely a leak area. That's for sure a leak area. This was a leak area. I'm pretty sure it was leaking from the other side, the other side of the core. But this one I need to fix. Yeah, but I don't know really how to go about this one. Like, what if I just cut this entire piece out and then crimped and JB welded all around it. Okay, my idea for using the straw to like blow in the material. Not bad, right? Well, I'm gonna make it better. I'm gonna use pressurized air now to blow it in there. Okay, the end of the science experiment. I think I got the major areas that were leaking, and then I blew it in there with that pressurized air. Who knows if it'll work, but not really losing anything here since the dude told me the radiator was junk. So it's worth a shot, but yeah, now it's just to let it dry and then fill it up with water and see what happens. So I got the radiator back inside the grill and the shroud with new hose on it. I went to AutoZone to buy hose to replace everything, and they actually do not sell straight pieces over, I want to say 3/4 inch of coolant hose. So you cannot buy straight pieces. You have to buy like pieces for other cars and then cut them up. But I looked on Vintage Power Wagons, and it had all the pieces in a kit, and it was really reasonable. I want to say it was like 12 bucks shipped. So I went ahead and did that. But yeah, my JB Weld radiator fix, there's a lot more on the other side. Blowing it through the fins with air actually worked. So right now this thing is not leaking. Once it warms up and the metals expand, you know, I don't know how long it'll last, but at the moment it's not leaking. Maybe it'll work good enough that I can drive it over to my over to the barn so I can actually work on it without getting rained on and stuff. But yeah, it's coming along. Just need to get it back in there now. I'm back with the Dodge VFA32 winch truck, and I'm gonna throw this radiator back in it. New hoses, the whole 9 yards. And once that's in, I just need to put some fuel in the gas tank in the back, and it probably will run. We'll see. Okay, so it's all back together, and it's not leaking. I filled the radiator up before I really started cinching everything down, but it's all back together, and I was able to use almost all the original hardware except these guys started falling apart when I did the rust removal. But beyond that, everything looks good, except, see this nut? Somehow I managed to lose one bolt. Just one. It's the guy that goes right there. So I'm gonna have to get another bolt for that, but I think I'm to a point where I can go get a battery and try running this thing and see if it'll circulate coolant and keep cool. She's all hooked up. I got a battery in it, and that lovely gas tank that I spent all that time fixing is plugged off again, so I just rigged up a gas can and ran a line to it. But I think it's time we give her a start and see what happens. '80-year-old truck, 85-year-old truck. So it's leaking down there, right there. I'm gonna check that fitting. Nothing. So the starter went out.